Hey, everybody. In light of the difficulties that many of you had with the previous peer review for essay number 2, I have kind of revised what we're going to do with the peer review for essay number 3. As you can see, I have made it into a discussion board post. I think this will make it easier for sharing your documents as well as responding. So instead of opening up the viewer for Canvas and trying to mark up a student's paper and fill out the rubric, I'm making it less complicated. You're just going to upload your papers, and I'll explain that in a minute, and then you will be able to read your peers' paper and respond in a discussion board reply to their thread. So some of the instructions here, okay? First and foremost, in order to do this, you need to reply to this prompt here and provide your document by clicking on Insert, then Document, then Upload Document. I will actually show you how to do that on the screen here. So you come down to the bottom as though you're replying to somebody's post, but reply to my post, my prompt, and I don't need you to write anything in the text box. Instead, you're going to come up to this menu up here, click on Insert, scroll down to Document, and then come over to Upload Document. This will open up this page for you where you can upload your file, just like you're submitting an assignment, and then click your file in your computer. This one I have here is on journal prompts. And don't forget to click on submit. Double check, make sure that your document shows up in the window. And then the last thing that you need to do is post reply. I have that up here. So make sure that you post reply. That's number 2, right? And then I have information here from Canvas that shows you that tells you more about discussion board peer review. I'm going to open that up for you as well so that you can see some of the things that you might need to know and how to look for a peer review that's on the discussion board. So once again, you're going to go into your dashboard and probably in your to-do list. Unfortunately, I can't call that kind of stuff up because my student view doesn't allow for any kind of peer review for me to access, sadly. So it says here you should be able to see it in your to-do list, or you can go to discussions and open up discussion and you'll find who you need to review there. So it'll either look like this when you're assigned a peer review at the top of the discussion board, or it may look like this. I don't know if we have the redesign for discussions or not, but it could also look like this here. But it will be up at the top of the discussion board. You should be able to access your peer review there and then click on, well, you can try clicking on review now. I'm not sure what that will do for you, but at least you can take a look at the person that you're supposed to review and find their part in the thread where they have shared their essay. So once you find your person, you will access their document. This one, you can either download it or you can open it up in the viewer. And this document might look familiar to you, partially. This is something from the beginning of the semester. Of course, it's taking a long time to open. Naturally, as I go in to record, it takes a long time to open. But here you see you have the document. Now, if you view the document like this, you're not going to be able to do any kind of marking up, but at least you'll be able to read the document. You don't have to download it to your computer. So that spares you a few extra steps that you need to make. Once you have read the student's document, as I said, click on their document in their reply, and it will open the document viewer so you don't have to download the document. You do have the option of downloading, but you don't have to download it if you don't want to. Then make sure that you click reply under the student that you're supposed to respond to and answer these feedback questions. If you want to copy and paste that into your response, you can do that and answer them point by point. But I don't want you to feel like you have to answer each and every question. Just do the best that you can. Do your best to provide some of the guided feedback for revision so that if some things are a little bit funky with the students' writing, you might want to point that out to them. But this gives you some guidance on what the sorts of things I want you to look for. So first of all, you want to make sure that it's actually a researched argument. So you're going to be looking for things like in-text citations, looking for the works cited page to make sure that they've actually done a little bit of research, right? If they don't indicate that they've used any kind of research, you might want to let them know that. Because that's the important part. That's the whole goal of this essay, is to use some research in order to support your argument. Then I want you to look at the introduction. Is it interesting? Does it draw you in as a reader? And then any kind of suggestions you might have for them. What could the reader do to improve the introduction? Does the writer provide solid evidence to support their claim? You can look at a couple of examples. You don't have to provide the examples, but see if there is some evidence. And is there any other evidence you can think of that the writer might want to consider that they may have left out? Is there evidence the writer has researched the topic closely and critically? Did they use the sources from our list of sources, or did they actually pull something from Google that I didn't approve of? Does the writer use that outside information well? Are the sources properly cited in MLA format? Again, you may know or you may not know, not a big deal. If you know that it doesn't look right, then you might want to make some suggestions there. Make sure that they have the required number of sources. Are there other points of view that writer may not have considered? Is the paper well organized? Does it read well? Is it logical? Is it smooth writing, or is there a lot of places where you're stumbling? How can the writer change the arrangement of the essay to improve the readability? And then in general, I don't need you to nitpick and look for every little grammatical or punctuation or spelling errors. But if there is a consistent problem with grammar or perhaps a consistent problem with punctuation, you might want to point that out. Again, I will be reading everybody's drafts and making comments, so I don't want you to feel like it's your sole responsibility as students. It is not your sole responsibility, but it's good to have extra sets of eyes because sometimes students actually will catch things that I didn't see upon reading the first time, right? So it's always good to have some extra eyes looking at things. And then lastly, does the writer fulfill the requirements of the essay? Make sure that it's 4 to 6 pages and that there's an additional works cited page at the end, that they're using 1-inch margins, 12-point font, that they have the MLA page header with the last name and the page number, as well as the MLA heading with their name, my name, the course number, and the date. And lastly, of course, that there's a works cited page at the end. And then once you have finished your reply, remember again to post reply so that all of your information isn't lost and it shows up as the reply. And then that will also give you credit for taking part in the peer review. Again, if you have any questions on how to do this, if there's something that just doesn't make sense or this video wasn't explanatory enough, please feel free to reach out to me and say, I'm not quite sure what I need to do. Remember also that you will be submitting your draft in 2 places. So of course you have your original draft submission which you did last week, right? And then you're going to submit it again, but as a file upload in your reply to this discussion board prompt. Hopefully this works out a little bit better. Again, it's kind of an experimental thing because the last peer review was so confusing for a large number of students that I know I needed to do something different. I didn't want to completely scrap the peer review because I know that many of you have benefited from it. You did a great job working through all the little stumbling blocks that we had the last time we did peer review. So I don't want you to give up on it just because it was difficult the last time. I'm trying to make this easier. So hopefully this way is a little bit easier. We'll know after the whole thing if it is a good thing or not. I will ask for your feedback after we've gone through the peer review process, so that I know maybe this will be a good way for me to work in peer review with my other online sections. All right, I'll leave you to it. Take care, everybody.